Hello again, Chris Lee, Blake Lovell, Max Barr, a Southeastern 16, the Florida Gators, your 2025 national champs. The Gators were just a monster all season, never let up for long. That consistency carried over into tonight. Even when the Gators were down, tough to put away. Congratulations to Houston, too, by the way. Tremendous season. Guys, tremendous national title game. Defensive efforts on both ends were unbelievable. And at the end of the day, it was a closeout by Florida and a defensive stop just before that were the winning plays. Blake, I'll throw it to you first. Thoughts on the Gators tonight. It's late. We've done a lot of basketball this year.
Hey, listen, I've got the official number. You guys didn't know I would do this. I've got the official number of how many videos / live streams we did this basketball season. I'll reveal it towards the end when we do our wrap up. I did go back and find the number. My goodness, the Final Four we said with all the 1 seeds, we're like, how can you accurately know how these games are going to play out when you have this many teams as 1 seeds? We said for the first time since 2008. We're like, this is a historically great, maybe historically the best Final Four ever from a statistical standpoint. You're like, how do you figure out how these games are going to play out? We said, whether it was in the preview video, whether it was the live streams we did, all this stuff, we said, how on earth can we, with all the different things that are out there, right, about we look at this side of the matchup, that side of the matchup, and we were just like, how can you know exactly how this is going to go? Because we've seen some of these just wild sequences, both for Florida and for Houston in the Duke game. And even games before that, we saw some of those for Houston. And it was just, man, it was exactly that. And it was the same kind of thing that winds up winning out here. It's just another sort of wild sequence in these games. And, I mean, my goodness, it was just a tremendous Final Four, but this national championship game, we said, like, if you're talking pure matchups, yes, you could have went with any of the combinations of teams in the Final Four and probably gotten a great matchup. But I don't know if we would have gotten much better than this. Like, this was just everything you could have wanted, minus the officiating being completely different in the second half than it was the first half. But we'll let you guys chime in on that. Both sides, by the way. I'm not pointing that towards anyone. It's just the game came to an SEC-style halt early in the second half. But tremendous win for Florida. I mean, listen, one of the talking points was Walter Clayton coming to this game. We said, what happens if it's a scenario where you have Walter Clayton who does not get his usual points? What happens then, right? And you could have picked a lot of players that we could have brought up. And I don't know how I got there, but I did the Sirius XM with those guys this afternoon, and I was like, they're like, pick a player not named Walter Clayton. I'm like,
you did you?
And I picked Will Richard. I said, I think Will Richard is the guy. Now, look, I mean, if you're thinking about it, right, who's the guy that if they were to shut him down, and I led with the idea that I don't think they can shut him down. I don't care how good, right? It's just like Walter Clayton is Walter Clayton. But they did it somehow. Credit Will Richard, Chris. We saw this guy at Belmont several years ago, and look at what this guy has become. He became kind of the shining star in the national championship game, helped his team win a national title, and what more can you say? Like, tremendous game from Will Richard.
As an aside, our friend Casey Alexander, poor guy, man. What kind of roster would he have had at Belmont if he could have held that together under the old rules? But I've always loved Will Richard. I've thought for 2 years, as I always say, the guys that are the most underrated are guys that do everything. Will Richard does everything on a basketball floor. Guys, tonight, in the last 45 seconds, he had the block on the one that went out of bounds that they couldn't corral, and then he had he was the guy that got the steal, the last steal of the game on the second last, and then of course Clayton had the closeout. Which, by the way, wasn't that 2 closeouts in the final minute where Auburn caused the travel in the Final Four? The one against Auburn, right? Am I dreaming that? That was the Auburn game. They got a turnover just like that. I think.
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, who would have thought that a Florida closeout was winning the national title?
Right.
Back when we started this in November, but that's where we are. That's how much this team grew. But yeah, Will Richard tonight had to be the MVP because he did everything. When they couldn't score early, it was Will Richard who hit the big shots. Clayton didn't get a field goal to 7:52 left. Hit some big ones late, but this was Will Richard's night.
Yeah, I put out a tweet before the game of Dante DiVincenzo's performance in 2018. I was just like, everybody is just saying, Walter Clayton this, Walter Clayton that, LJ Cryer this, Jawan Roberts that. Usually in these big time games, it's someone else that steps up. And a lot of the comments were Will Richard. It's Will Richard's due. He hasn't hit a 3 in 2 games. It's Will Richard time. But as much credit as he's going to get, and deservingly so, how about that 3-pointer block turned into and one for Tommy H? I thought that was the spark that brought Florida back into single digits and starting to creep back into 2 possessions, putting the game pressure on Houston. That defense-offense sequence from Sir Thomas, and by the way, did you see the flex after that and one? That was a vintage Sir Thomas moment. Those 2 sequences there, I thought were huge, getting Florida back into the game when Houston was only up by 3 at halftime. After Florida had, it was just couldn't end a possession without a turnover. It was either a travel, just miscommunication, completely passing it to no one, something. When Houston's only up 3 at that time, I texted you guys. I said Florida's winning this game.
You did.
Yeah.
You said
I did.
They
Florida's winning this game.
Should have bagged more than that. Yeah.
Yep. At halftime, I knew it because Houston did not take advantage of that poor start from Florida. Think about that also. Florida just won the national title game, and in every single game they played was not a complete performance. They did not play their best game, and they just won the national championship game in what everyone was saying was the most elite Final Four, the highest quality of teams at the end. Florida, you didn't even get to see the best. So, yeah.
How about this? So the clip we aired this morning, the diving of the ball. Brian says we beat them at their own game. What do you know? It came down to one of those kind of couple plays there towards the end, and I mean that was definitely one of the big parts of this. I mean, again, there's so many different things you could go with, kind of, and I'm going to pull up some of the chats here, and we have a lot of them coming in, but let's see. Sorry, make sure we get to all these. So shout out to Ben. Ben's now a member of the It Just Means More tier. Thanks, Ben. And look, it's kind of fitting, isn't it? The SEC just capped off the greatest season by any conference. We talked about it all year, the statistical numbers, best season ever for a single conference, and it is, again, fitting that ends with a national championship. And we said that would be the narrative. If the SEC did not win the national championship, it was sort of free reign to say, all right, well, you had the greatest regular season ever, all this, greatest tournament numbers, but it didn't win it all. And so, won it all. And I mean, it does. It kind of caps it off now with sort of a fitting finish there for them. And so, I mean, the rebounding aspect, we talked about that in this game. Offensive boards, 15-8, right? Houston, as you said, Max, got all those. Is this Big Gator EJ? Free pizza at Gate 10. If you're there in San Antonio, if you want free pizza, go to Gate 10 right now.
By all means.
But I mean, Houston had 15 offensive rebounds. Florida had 8. Like, Houston did a great job, and that's where, again, it comes back to those extra opportunities, not taking advantage of them, which is such a huge part of this. And you just look at the percentages, right? We said, and shout out to, let's see, Salty Tiger here, brings it up, almost had the score dead on. I think it was 67-62 was the Salty Tiger prediction, had Houston winning it. I think I flipped it to Florida 67-62, but we said if the game was in the 60s, felt really good about Houston. Game was in the 70s, felt really good about Florida. But when it came down to it, like we said, it was just Florida making a few more plays. Florida shoots 39.6%. Houston shoots 34.8%. And as we should have expected, both teams just could not get a lot going from three based on the defensive element. And really, I mean, it didn't seem like free throws were going to be a big part of this game either.
Ooh,
until
I thought for a while
half.
they might actually, yeah.
Well, but I mean, the foul numbers though was sort of my point.
Yeah.
Like both these teams weren't shooting many at all, but then eventually, like it kind of got up there. But so yeah, I mean, to me, like you can look at the stats and be like, there's not a lot statistically outside of people maybe just saying, well, Clayton didn't have his usual 30, but I mean, outside of that, like you just kind of had one of those games where Houston didn't really get a lot from that secondary sort of scoring element. Had a lot of guys with 8, which I guess, maybe sort of classifies in that, but the percentages, right? It's just we're not making shots. And I think back to that very first SEC game when Kentucky won 106-100 in Lexington. And Max, I know after that game, you and I feel like we went out on a limb. We were like, guys, I don't think Florida's that bad defensively. I just think that was a great offensive game that we saw. And I know we got a lot of blowback on that. But we're like, if you really watched it, like they were guarding. Kentucky was hitting shots. And then eventually from there, like, yes, the scoring went down and all that. But you could just see a team that was so locked in defensively, even from that point. And, I mean, that really changed their season. They were good defensively early in the season too. But as you got into the SEC, where you're playing a lot better sort of offensive teams, they were still finding ways just to lock in time and time again. And what do you know? I mean, that was the story of how this national championship was won. It wasn't talking about, every single play with Walter Clayton and all the offensive magic. It was just basic defensive fundamentals that wound up winning the game for Florida. So
I think this sums it up when I look at the box score. This is how great Florida was this year. Clayton, 3 of 10 from the field, 11 points tonight. Florida turns it over 13 times to Houston's 9. It's 6 of 24 on threes and still beats Houston for the national title. Like, there's some teams that, like, they need everything to go right to win a game like that. Florida had a ton of stuff go wrong and still be an elite team.
Yeah, I said this, I think it was this morning. It was either this morning or one of the ones. We did a lot. I said before the game, like before you dive into any of the nooks and crannies of the matchup, Walter Clayton from 3, how does that look? And then JoJo Tugler, can he stay on the floor? You got neither of them. Neither.
Yeah.
Walter Clayton went 1 of 7 from 3. JoJo Tugler plays 16 minutes, sits basically the whole first half, much of the second half. So the two things, like the two constants that I was like, I think if one team is able to have this looking after the game, okay, that team probably won. You got neither of them. Houston barely had Tugler. Florida got 3 points out of Walter Clayton from beyond the arc. And it was, like you said, Blake, the secondary guys for Houston outplayed by the secondary guys for the Gators.
Yeah. By the way, Carter, I saw your comment. We'll get to that. I saw what you're referring to, and I've pulled those up. We will get to that after we talk about the game here, because, yes, they are very interesting looking at the current odds to win the 2026 national championship that have just been released. We'll talk about those here in just a minute. But, yeah, I think, and that's what we said going in. Like, Florida's supporting cast. I mean, Todd Golden said it after the game. I think we got the best backcourt in America. I think we got the best front court in America. And, just a couple of those big plays, like you said, whether it's our guy Tommy H making just that one huge play there down the stretch, and it's just a combination of those things where you just kind of, you add those up. It's a defense possession here. It's a steal. It's a 3-point play. Like, there were just a lot of those different ones. And I'll say this too, credit Alex Condon, because I was wondering how he would fare in this game, because I knew how physical Houston was going to be. And it wasn't just Condon. It was the front court period, because we talked about Chinyalu, certainly I think he's very physical. But the way Houston plays defensively, we said how this game was going to be officiated would be significant, because if they're pressuring you and you're a big guy and you're like, I don't want to be dribbling or handling the ball here. But I think that was kind of something where Condon stepped up, made some big plays in this game. Sure, he had a couple plays. What was it? There was a couple walks I think he had on that, but still made some big plays. And that was kind of the story. Like I said, just somebody different was stepping up, it seemed like, in these spots. And one thing, too, I want to mention. Micah Hand-Logden. I mean, we were sitting there a year ago when this guy, as we said, we're 10 feet away a year ago. When this guy goes down, we didn't think he was going to play at all this year. And then, man, I mean, he was in tears after this, and rightfully so, because this guy, to think about the road back to even play this year when we did not think he was going to. And I know you can look at the stats and say, all right, well, he wasn't, putting up Alex Condon numbers or Tommy H numbers or anything, but just having that one extra guy like that you just can throw out there. He got 4 rebounds tonight, had a couple assists, had a block. I don't think we can undersell how important that was too, just to have someone like that back in the mix. And again, man, what a road back for that guy. Tremendous to see him win a national championship. Just just think about the value that he brings to this team, and great stuff. So,
still remember all the way back to last year when he went out. But sorry, Chris, said you had something.
Yeah, this is gonna be a first. I'm trying to decide which one I want to do. You guys talk, and I'll get to it. You're going to see what I'm doing.
I'm not sure. I like where this is headed.
This will be worth it.
I don't know if I like
how
transitioning.
About this? Oh, I just had it and I lost. There it is. Okay. Florida just might be the team of destiny this year. Okay. Listen to this. Second half against Texas Tech with 2:55 remaining. Texas Tech had a 94.4% chance of winning.
Yeah. How about that?
Florida won that game. Okay. With 18:22 left in the second half, so a minute and a half into the second half, Auburn had an 83.1% chance of winning. Florida won that game. With 16:04 left in the title game, Houston had a 93.4% chance of winning. Florida won that game. That's incredible.
Wow.
Never count them out.
You never count them out, and that was the ability to play those kind of games throughout the season. Again, and at the time, you're probably thinking, you're a Florida fan, why does this team keep doing this to me? Why do they keep putting me in these spots? But eventually, like when you get in these kind of situations, they just were like, you know what? We'll find a way. And they found a way. And, just sort of put themselves in a position to win the game, made more plays down the stretch, and that's what it's all about. So, by the way, the fish man here says that just imagine the alternate universe if Arkansas and Kentucky would have been in this game. Anyways, congrats for it. Yeah. You imagine this chat right now?
Oh, my God.
Can you imagine the chat after Kentucky-Arkansas national title this year? But we'll see if they're going to be in the mix next year when we look ahead to the odds for 2026. But there you have it. Chris, you are just...
What do you got?
This has taken 5 minutes, and I don't even know where it's headed here.
I got a little... which version am I going to go with?
Oh, boy. All right, let's continue on with the chat. I don't know. No.
This will be worth it. Playing around a little bit with Chat GPT.
Oh, no. All right. That's all I needed to hear.
Yeah. No, this will be good.
Guys, are you listening to this right now? If you are, don't leave. But Chris has decided on a national championship Monday night in college basketball that he's going to jump into Chat GPT. And what he comes up with, none of us have any idea what he's pulling up here. Well, I'm not sure. So
we're summarizing the game in poetry. In Florida's heart, the court did gleam, a team with passion chasing a dream. But whispers swirled and doubt was cast as Florida's pride was questioned at last. Walter Clayton Jr., star of the show, had an off night. His rhythm was slow. Shots that once soared now missed the mark. leaving fans with hearts both bright and stark. The doubters grew loud, the critics rang clear. Can Florida rise or will they disappear?
I'll tell you who's about to disappear, our entire audience.
But deep in the game, a spark did ignite, for Will Richards stood ready to fight. With focus and fire, he stepped to the line.
Oh, there's more.
A force undeniably fine. In the clutch moments, he rose alone, a hero reborn, fueled by love. With the final swish, the crowd did erupt as Florida's victory was sealed abrupt. In the face of disrespect, they stood tall, and Will Richards' courage conquered it all. For even on nights when stars may fail, the Gators will rise and answer. When stars may fall, the Gators will rise and answer the call. There you go. GPT tells you how it was done.
That was you. You just wrote that up.
I think you wrote that. It took 5 minutes. I think you wrote that on the phone.
Believe it or not, no.
Yeah, Salty Tiger, we should be paying you for watching this tonight. You guys don't even have to give us any super chat. We should be the ones paying you. This should be. This will not make the audio cut. We will be. We can't do this to our audio listeners, but
it got us a super chat.
My. Yeah, there's a super chat probably to get you to stop reading poetry is my guess. All right. $25 here from RJ. We appreciate it, RJ. First time, or you all made this season 10 times better. First time watching you all throughout basketball season. No one is as in depth as you all. Go Gators! Great season, great times. Look forward to next year. Well, we appreciate that, RJ. Yeah, I mean, nice. It was quite a season to say the least. I do have the numbers in front of me. This is our 271st video / live stream since November, whatever, when the season started. Wow. 271. We've done most of those live streams, but of course we've had the videos as well. But yeah, 271 since the season started. We have gained, I don't know how many subscribers on the channel. Yeah. I mean, last month, March, this tournament run, the biggest month we've ever had since we started this thing 4 years ago. So it's all credit to you guys. You guys are awesome. The super chats are tremendous. All that stuff. Mother Carol with a $20 super chat. Here's to the champions, the Florida Gators. Great season, great conference, great podcast, great chat. Yep. Remember, though, it's not over. We got many more to come. We'll have our show tomorrow morning as usual. So don't you guys think that this is the end of the season for us. So don't think that's the case. Shout out to Colin. $5 super chat to make sure he immediately starts with silly poem, but go Gators and welcome to the golden era. Thanks for the input and insight this season. Very enjoyable. We appreciate you there, Colin. So, but Rob, glad you finally subscribed. You're probably ready to unsubscribe, but we're glad you're here anyways. So
it really has been an incredible year. I'm for the first time, now that you just said that, Blake, it just sank in with me right now as I'm speaking that the season's over. Like I hadn't thought that. It was just national championship game, set up the stream, get on the stream. I didn't even think that the whole season's over now. What a year. I mean, you could think back. You mentioned the 106-100 game, some of those non-conference games with Auburn against Iowa State, the comebacks, the whole non-conference schedule for the SEC was just as elite as it gets. It was like every Friday, Saturday, there was a top 10, top 5 game featuring an SEC team. Jeez. It's been 5 months. 5 months.
Yeah. Tremendous.
And I know, guys, I wasn't going to address, but there's been so many comments of
let's address it.
The elephant in the room.
You have the floor,
yes.
Max. Go ahead.
Picture this.
Don't worry, this isn't a poem, everyone. You're good. Max is not going to do poetry here. Don't worry.
You're 24. You are month to month on your rent bill. I am making a pot roast, though, actually. I got it on keep warm right now to not overcook it in the crock pot. And I would have won month of rent if Houston won the bracket pools. I have like $15 in my savings account. That would have been big for me. It would have been big. It would have been about 4 weeks worth of savings I could have had. So I'm a little bit broken right now. I was going to say I'm a broken man. Wouldn't even call myself a man right now. I am a poor SEC basketball psycho. That's what I am right now. I'm sorry. I'm happy for you, Florida Gators fans. I'm just a little bit broken.
Listen, we've all played in bracket challenges and bracket pools and all that. It's nothing against the team you pick against, okay? It's just you're trying to win a bracket pool, right? And so we've all been there. How about this? Anyone who sends us a super chat between now and the time that this show is over, all contributions go to Max Barr. Because Chris is the one who usually takes all the super chat money. So
I'm not doing that.
We are going to send it all to Max Barr for this one. Chris doesn't get all the super chat money this time. So that's the deal we're making here.
Sean gets it. Just getting by here. We're just getting by.
Sean gets it.
No, do not start sending. Stop it, guys. Stop.
Sorry, Max. You shouldn't have put up a challenge for me like that. Are you kidding me? Come on. So, all right, let's catch up here on some stuff. We got a lot of stuff to catch up on. All right, I got to make sure we've gotten all of our super chats to this point. Let me do this. Shout out to Lincoln here, by the way. Appreciate the videos. What a ride for the Gators. Yeah, how about that? Florida fans joining in for the first time this year. Southeastern 16, you get a national championship. That means you got to stay, right? But Ben said, by the way, he promised Max he'd join as a member. 15 minutes later, Chris made him want that back. So not surprised. That's probably not the first person who said that. Salty Tiger, been a regular here. Didn't even hear about the channel until this season. Be here forever now. Great season to the crew, including the stash. There, the fish man back with $2. That poem was the fungus among us. I agree. We got $2 towards the.
See the one about Max's bracket.
the Max fund. Yeah.
Sorry,
the human fund is what we're going to call this. The Seinfeld reference. Christian here. So glad I discovered the channel during the Florida championship run, winning the national title and the conference tournament. Yep, the year SEC had impressive resume. That's the thing, right? Not only did Florida win the national championship the year where the SEC was this good, they won the conference tournament. Like they did it all, man. Like they just accomplished, again, historic things this season, and incredible stuff for the Florida Gators. Celebrating. How are you celebrating right now? If you're a Florida fan, are you in Gainesville? Are you with Big Gator EJ in section? I don't remember what section he was in, but
109.
109.
109. Free pizza at gate, one of the gates.
Gate 10.
I'm guessing the pizza's gone by now. That was earlier. You can't keep free pizza that long. But yeah, so hope you guys are celebrating your championship victory. $5 super chat here from Colin. Wants to help Max pay here. So
I don't know.
Max, I truly
love
felt
getting
bad for you.
Max's reactions here. Hey,
I'm not gonna lie, it's all in good fun.
By the way, this will get Max perked up. Mo D. Leaving the SEC. This will get Max perked up tomorrow. We got some business to take care of when it comes to transfers.
Sorry, guys. I'm just looking for a brick wall to run through.
Yeah, there you go. He's back. Yeah. This is how we got him back. Mo D to Kentucky. We'll talk about that tomorrow.
Here he goes.
Got a video coming. Oreo's here. He's celebrating. So, celebrate good times. Oreo. Oh, there he is. I knew he'd be here.
There he is.
King Malik is here. Tears of joy. Tough season. Gotta throw a shot at Max in there.
Go ahead.
But we know it's all out of love. Been a long season. Hey, I'll tell you right. I'll say this right now. We talk about the optimistic rattlesnake and all this. From day one this season, this man right here told us when everybody was talking about Florida, having a season where they were whatever they were, they hadn't played anybody, all this other stuff. Kept saying, kept pushing, said, you're going to find out. You're going to see. There you go. Malik. It's all the future.
By the way, I don't know that you need a postseason stamp of validation for what these teams did, you got it. But I mean, think about this: the regular season champion and the tournament champion from the league both made the Final Four. One beat the other. The winner takes it home.
Yeah.
I mean, those are the greatest of the great teams when you take home multiple rounds of hardware.
Yeah, and think of like now removing from this season and like looking back on it, we like, and chat members, you guys who've been with us all year, know the analytical history of what the conference put up this season. You know the numbers behind it and how historically, numbers wise, the best. But if the conference did not cap it off with a national championship, everyone would be able to try to poke a hole in that argument. Florida just sealed it. Like now, forever. Like I'm talking like if we're doing this talk show 15 years from now, we'll be saying, remember that when the best season ever, capped off by a national championship. But yeah, just to kind of also about, Malik, EJ, Donovan, as I'm seeing popping up, Will, T-Wit. I mean, you guys in the chat, you guys are what separates us from every other podcast media company. You guys are a part of the show. You are the show. We don't have a show without you guys. Look at Donovan. He's already starting in next season form. He's ready to go.
How about that? He got there. Donovan at the end. This is like a storybook ending here. I know it's not what he wanted for his team, the Auburn Tigers, but Donovan has moved up the Florida Gators to number 1 in his official SEC power rankings after the national championship. So there you have it.
Fitting. Oh, was there any time in this season where, here we go, Gators fans. Turn up the volume, Gators fans. Turn it up. Was there ever a time this year when we were doing a power ranking and one of us three went out on a big limb and put the Gators number 1 overall in their power rankings, contrast to national belief? Did any of us do that, like at any time? And then maybe not follow up with that in the national title game?
I like to raise my hand to would that be sir? See, this is where I went wrong in the official prediction video. I said it was between Walter Clayton and Max Barr who were on the heater, but I forgot to include Sir Thomas Houck in there.
Yep.
And that's where I went wrong in the official pick. So
hey, we haven't mentioned Aberdeen either. Aberdeen had some tough defense, some tough finishes. He had one finish where he drove all the way and took it himself, used his body well, finished through contact. There was no drop-off from Aberdeen at all. He was right there with the big boys.
Oh, I was getting ready for the live bet. If he had hit a 3 early in that game, I was about to just be like, okay, let's go do the live stream now because the game would have been over. But he had 1 3, he missed it. And I was like, I don't know. So, by the way, shout out to our guy, Neil Blackman. Yeah.
Oh, didn't he get in a super chat earlier also?
Yep, he did. We're going to pull it up here. $10 super chat from the one and only, the Florida Basketball Hour, Neil Blackman, your friends and mine. From press row to the best SEC podcast in the college hoops universe. Much love from the national champs. Boy, that's a greeting card right there. That thing needs to be printed out on a card. Tremendous. And again, if you're a Florida fan and you're not listening to the Florida Basketball Hour, you got to reassess some things because the best of the best, and awesome for those guys. I can remember back because we've been talking to Neil and Eric for years. I mean, probably back like even the Elite Eight they had against South Carolina that year. Like that was so like that's been a long time. So tremendous stuff. Just those guys are the best, and just love it. Even if you're not a Gators fan,
they know their stuff.
That no one knows their stuff like them. We do a pretty good job at just general research, analytics, odds, lines, stuff like that. No one breaks down the game on an X and O level like Florida Basketball Hour. It would take me a lifetime to get to the knowledge Fawcett has on his breakdowns. Even if you're not a Gators fan, the best of the biz.
No. By the way, did a little checking last couple minutes. the last 4 times Florida has won the SEC tournament, they've won the national title 3 times, and the other time made the Final Four. 2014 lost to Connecticut.
Most years, it's like that's been like a curse for teams if you win the SEC tournament. Like, I don't know why. Like, I feel like that's usually something. We talked about that before, though. We probably had a stat at some point this year on that. But, yeah. Yeah, wild. So, yeah, I mean, look, that's just, I mean, what can you say? That they were the team where when they started to put it together. And I you know what? That was something else I talked about today on SiriusXM was they're like, what game was the turning point for Florida? And I was like, it sounds so easy, but like it was the Auburn game where you just knew at that point that if they proved they could go in there and do that to that Auburn team at that time, I mean, I don't know how you pick any other. And I know Florida fans are like, well, it was this game or that game, and you could take your pick, but that's when it went from okay to the people who aren't buying this team as a national championship contender. That's where, like, I feel like we just really went all in at that point. There were still a lot of people, though, and Max, we were laughing about it, even as, like, several weeks ago, like, going into the SEC tournament, they're like, hey, this Florida team, don't sleep on them. And we're like, don't sleep on this Florida team? What? Are you kidding me? This team might be the favorite to win it all. And it's just like...
Who's your dark horse?
Yeah, Florida might be the dark horse to win the whole thing. Are you kidding me? Like, they're one of the favorites. So, I mean, yeah, it really was. And it's so funny, too. I remember we have our laughs throughout the season. The Florida game was the game where I was traveling. And that was we did the watch along, the Florida Auburn. And I think that's where I was like, I'm sitting in the bed. I've got the microphone like this. And I'm like, what is going on here? And... like, that was the turning point right there. So, yeah, wild stuff.
I'm going to disagree with you a little bit on turning point.
Well, there's a shot.
Well, yeah, exactly. Do you remember the marathon live stream we did, start of SEC Eve? Remember that night where you guys had pre-recorded a bunch of stuff, and then we did 3 hours live ourselves, and we had Neil Blackman. Mm-hmm. And we were talking about the defense. And, hey, the computers like it. How much do we believe it? And Neil said, I think there's something here. I'm not sure of it, basically, but I think I see enough I like. And then they go out, as you alluded to earlier, they give up 106 to Kentucky. Next game was the game where they just locked Tennessee down like nobody's business. And give up, 44 points? 43. I submit that as, I don't know if it's Exhibit A, but it's on that list. Just when that had sort of, they really took their lumps there. They came back with that. And from that point on, I mean, did they play? The Georgia game was the only game that they were really, I mean, the Missouri game too. Missouri game, they lost by a point, but Missouri controlled that whole game. But, I mean, the moments for them were few and far between where they looked a little bit wobbly. So few and far between that I remember them because they were notable. That's how good they were all year.
Yeah. Hard to
yeah,
argue
how about just thinking back to a few games ago against Texas Tech, because Blake, you saying bringing up the SEC tournament and people being like dark horse. How about Stan? One more time, I got to get it in. How about Stan Van Gundy discovering who Thomas Houck was during the Texas Tech game? Didn't even know who he was.
Could you?
This
Folks, get a load of this Houck guy. He's coming along strong.
You didn't know about him now. You're gonna find out. Yeah. Well, I mean, hey. Listen, if you'd like to petition for us to call the NCAA tournament next year, go right ahead.
Oh, they're gonna get
Max.
in my mind.
Max can do it.
That's fine. So,
what I used to do.
That's right. Max can do play-by-play right now if we need to. They do play-by-play on the chat. Shout out to Merce Dave here, $20 super chat for Max, also for the Gators, also for the Braves, also for the OTC, which. Chris may not get that. That's a wrestling reference, Chris.
Oh, okay.
Merce Dave, also a fine follower of yours truly on another platform here on YouTube.
Yes.
But some of those always find me here, and I always appreciate it when they do. But shout out to $20 here, Merch Dave. How about this? I saw this earlier, Max. I thought you might like this.
Yeah.
DDT says Tommy Hawk plays like Andrei Kirilenko.
Andre?
We may have to recruit him this summer.
Okay, well, so we just passed 40-minute mark. I think it might be time that I pose the question now. I think they played well enough to where, at least me personally, I don't got a good barometer on draft boards and stuff like that. I really don't spend much time with it. However, you're telling me Tommy H is not an NBA player?
Come on.
You're telling me you're an NBA scout and you watched what Tommy H just did in the month of March, and you're telling me we can't use that guy on our team? I'm a little nervous. Gators fans, I bought the $50 Walter Clayton NIL shirt. I'm trying. I'm doing my piece. Are you doing yours? We need him back.
We do need him back. I mean, if he's back, what are the chances he's our SEC Player of the Year going into the season? They're pretty high. Let's just call it what it is. I mean, if we're gonna vote here, majority wins. I think we know Max and I are gonna get the win over Chris because we're both gonna probably vote Tommy H as the Player of the Year. But no bias involved though. So
right. You guys were the originals of the Tommy H fan club outside of Gainesville. I mean, you guys jumped on that train early.
A lot happened with our ride with the Gators last year at this time at the SEC tournament. Like we said, the Henlogden injury just was like a gut punch to us. But that's where we discovered our guys, Denzel Aberdeen and Sarah Thomas Houck. And we said, those are our guys. And, hey, they helped send Florida to national championship. So, shout out to Chris here. The Chris's stay together. $20 super chat. Not sure what to say. The Gator boys stay hot. Love Chris for picking the Gators. Of course. Chris knows it. Chris is the only one here who can see the future. The only person who can see the future on this channel. So, shout out to Big Gator EJ. $10 super chat. Love you all. Go SEC. By the way, last year, SEC tournament was also where we discovered Big Gator EJ. He joined us for the first time via Instagram. Yeah. He was like our lone Instagrammer last year. And, of course, we've completely not even kept up with that. But joined on from Instagram. And so, incredible stuff from Big Gator EJ. A tremendous season. Number 1 seed for sure this year for the chat. New member here, Tequila Mockingbird, which, by the way, this is spelled a little bit differently than the notable novel. So, if you're watching this on audio, it's a little bit different. But YouTube user
good.
here.
I like that.
Yeah, I knew you'd like that, Chris.
There's
no poems involved, but I knew you'd like that. YouTube user. I think I know who YouTube user is, by the way. Great season. Hopes Max didn't burn the pot roast. So,
I wish
Max, that was impressive.
I sent you guys a video of it, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Max, I'm going to give you can just guess this in your mind, but I'll give you one guess as to who this is. All right? And then you can tell me your answer after we finish this show.
Yep. Pot roast is on keep warm, though. You got high, low, keep warm instructions from Mom. I had to do a FaceTime earlier on how to set it up, but we're rocking and rolling.
Pot?
Yep, crock pot.
Yep.
Did a chuck roast, all the veggies. It was a championship night. I needed a championship meal.
Is this like a Max Barr tradition? Like you cook a pot roast when you've got a big event?
I'm normally a frozen pizza guy, but
yeah, we got to
start growing up.
You should be a Timmy Pizzas guy, because Timmy Pizzas goes in here with the woo. Timmy Pizza is another regular. And the reason I can identify Timmy Pizza so well is usually I'm hungry and I see the pizza and I'm just like, I'm going to present these comments to the people because I want to see if anyone else gets a little hungry when they see the Timmy Pizza's comments here.
It's a lot of pepperoni.
Yeah, this guy, legit. All right, let's see what else we got here. Donovan, we tried. We tried to put the Southeastern 16 Kiss of Death to the test with this game. Chris did not follow the lead, but that's okay. You don't have to worry about that until next season now. So thank goodness we get to stay away from that thing, right? Adam, greatest conference ever. And let's see what else we've got here. All right, there's a couple. Okay, here you go. Timmy Pizzas. Work at the most popular pizza place in Gainesville. Everyone come eat tomorrow. There you go. Look at this.
There you go.
You had free pizza at Gate EJ.
Yeah.
And now, there you go. Timmy Pizzas lining up to hand out pizza. Not for free, it doesn't sound like. I don't blame you. Charge a pretty penny. All right. Big Baller Brett. When's the first way too early power rankings dropping? Tomorrow. We'll give those to you tomorrow. Yeah, right. That's not happening, by the way. So, I don't know.
The scary thing is you two would have opinions if pressed.
If we rank the teams tomorrow, you know what? LSU'd probably be the top 5.
I think A&M has like one player right now.
A&M would be 16. But Buckyball just got signed to the mix, so I couldn't do that to Buckyball. My guy Kyle Keller's back there as an assistant. I like that.
Oh yeah.
But, yeah, I don't know. So that's where we're at. But we'll get to him at some point. Don't worry. We'll get to him at some point soon. All right. But if you want what Vegas is thinking, oh, what's happening here? Oh, celebration. Decided to celebrate here. It appears on the screen.
I think the thumbs up does that. Try it again.
I don't know. Balloons. Like that's
no, but I think it triggers the balloons.
Oh, okay.
I think that's what
Florida
you did.
action, maybe from there. So, you know what? We got to put this on the screen too, because it's usually never the case. So we've got to present it
please.
To the people. Frame this here. Chris was right. Eat crow, Max, and Blake. I tell you, Chris, you need to screenshot this right now instead of writing poetry. Screenshot this and put this somewhere where you can see it. So
from Breb,
go right ahead.
My wife and kids have a saying every Christmas when the presents get unveiled that Dad's just as surprised as we are, and that one applies here too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's it. $5 super chat from Rob. My kids keep saying they're hungry. Can't they see I'm celebrating? Go Gators. Wife is going to ask for a divorce. Well, don't blame us for that, Rob.
Wait.
Uh-oh.
Hold on, everybody. I've seen a few of these. Skylar says, I'm out of here. See y'all next year. I've seen a few see y'all next years. Guys, we're not going anywhere. We got content coming out tomorrow morning.
It's a show tomorrow morning. We're doing a live show tomorrow morning.
Today, now, for me.
It's going to be our season in review, basically, is what we're going to do. We're going to wrap up some things tomorrow morning. But, we have transfer videos to do tomorrow, too. Max and I we got to jump on some transfer videos. So, yeah trust me. The season is not over for us, except for the games. That's all. All right, we're going to get to what I said earlier, and then it's getting late for Max, so we'll let him hop off. The way too early 2026 national title odds are definitely interesting. So here you have it. We will give you your national title odds as they are presented at DraftKings. Are you ready? For anyone who's not looked at these, here we go. I want to see your reaction as I go through these, okay? I'm going to go one team at a time, and I want you guys to react live. Who do you think is the favorite?
Duke.
Chris, any guesses?
Usually always throw Duke as the favorite.
Florida fans, stay in here because you're going to want to hear this.
I was going to...
Just throw a guess.
Clayton
Don't overthink. No. We're not going to advance analytics.
Guess out there.
Okay. Duke was my first guess.
Duke, currently plus 1,000 here on DraftKings.
That's comedy.
Houston, plus 1,200. Stay here, Florida fans, because you're going to want to hear this. I need you to go ahead and just hear this, okay? UConn, plus 1,400. BYU, plus 1,600. Now, if you're wondering why BYU has such high odds, remember who they're bringing in. So so I'm not shocked that this is high, but I'm not shocked they're that high on this list. Purdue, plus 1,800. The same with St. John's at plus 1,800. And now, who is the SEC favorite according to this?
Alabama.
Thoughts?
It's got to be the Gators.
There are 2 SEC teams with the same odds. And wouldn't you know it, it is the Kentucky Wildcats and Arkansas Razorbacks.
Oh, Arkansas, of course. Yeah.
Currently both sitting
Kentucky up there.
Both sitting at plus 2,000. Also at plus 2,000, Kansas. Guess who's at plus 2,200? Not Florida. Louisville, plus 2,200. Guess who else is there? Texas Tech.
Oh, my gosh.
Man.
Yeah. Where's the Gators, huh? Gators, this is what we mean. We're already motivating you for next season. We're getting you ready. It's time. Get the chip on your shoulder. I don't care that you won the national championship a half hour ago. It's time to get ready for next season. Somebody tell Todd Golden right now. Michigan, plus 2,500. Auburn, plus 2,500.
Oh, my gosh.
Alabama, plus 2,500. Florida, plus 2,500.
Jeez.
There you go. There are your opening odds via. Yeah, so there you have it.
Wow.
I could keep going. They literally have, I mean, as many teams as you could find on there. So if anyone wants any odds, you can find them at DraftKings right now.
Where's Alabama?
That better not mean that Tommy H is gone. That better not mean that.
Better get your futures in right now because these numbers will change by tomorrow.
What was Alabama tied with Florida?
And Auburn, yeah.
And Auburn, okay.
I like this. Already motivating the Gators for next year. Remember,
wait, so how many teams are above the first SEC team?
Here are the teams listed above the first SEC team: Duke, Houston, UConn, BYU, Purdue, St. John's. Kansas is tied with Kentucky and Arkansas.
6 teams are going to be better than the top SEC.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Again, these will shift dramatically, but it's really fun to look at though. Like now is kind of that interesting time where if you see like Tennessee's plus 3,500, keep going down the SEC list. Texas plus 6,000 here, Ole Miss plus 8,000, Mississippi State 10,000.
Remember what Florida was?
Where were they at
this year?
Well, I don't remember what it was.
60.
They were 60-1. Yeah.
Wow. Interesting. Wow. All right, there you go.
Where was Tennessee?
The disrespect for the Gators. Plus 3,500. They're a little ways down.
Yeah.
Again, one transfer is going to happen tomorrow, and all of a sudden, someone's going to jump 30 spots, and that's it. So,
yeah, I mean, there's still big time. Like the biggest gets of the portal are still out there. Like Big East Player of the Year, R.J. Lewis. There's a few other big time gets. Yeah.
That's it. All right. We're out of here. $2 super chat from Big Baller Brett.
Oh,
now
yeah.
Mo D's biggest hater. Video coming tomorrow, Kentucky fans. We're going to talk about Mo D to Kentucky. Florida fans, we're going to wrap up the season and your national title tomorrow morning. Live show here at the channel. And then we'll get into off-season stuff. We don't stop here.
Yep.
So that's it. You guys are the best. We appreciate you joining in this season and during the season. But again, don't leave because the fun continues here at Southeastern 16. With our basketball stuff, baseball stuff, football stuff, all that. But plenty of basketball still coming. You guys celebrate. Congrats. Awesome stuff. The SEC. Best conference in the country this season. The SEC as the national champion. And there you have it. So.
And baseball stuff going too. We're well into that. Going to have some live streams this week in the morning, as well as probably Friday. So if you're needing your sports fix and you're not getting your daily basketball, we're on to that. I think a lot of you are here for that too, which is great. Anyway, congratulations to Will Richard Watch Clayton Jr. and the rest of the Florida Gators on their national title. Congratulations to you Gator fans. EJ, particularly you. Very happy for you tonight, my man. For Max Barr, for Blake Lovell, I'm Chris Lee. God bless you. Have a great night. Sleep well. You've been watching our Hoops content here at Southeastern 16.